Manny Pacquiao. Cannot talk boxing without talking Manny Pacquiao here.
Okay, here's the big thing. I was in Australia to cover the fight of Manny, and in the fight against Jeff Horn, where he lost his title, I thought the referee really did a poor job. You can't blame the judges. The judges will score it as they see it, but the referee, Mark Nelson, tolerated a lot of the dirty things that Horn did. And as a result, Manny could never get on track. And he finally did in the 9th round when he dominated Horn. And Freddie Roach asked for just one more round like that to seal the deal. But Manny couldn't do it because, you get tired. When a guy's leaning on you, elbowing you, and butting you, and holding you down, that takes a lot out of your energy. And still, if Manny had won the 12th and last round of that fight would have ended a majority draw, and Manny would have retained the championship. So I don't think it was a decisive victory at all for Jeff Horn. Horn won that fight because the referee let him do what he shouldn't have been allowed to do. Let me tell you something. Mark Nelson, the referee in that fight, he's supposed to referee a fight in Japan, a world title fight. But guess what? Last minute, they scratched him out. Now he's gotten a reputation as being a bad referee. So what he did in Australia, that's going to impact on his career as a referee. There is going to be a rematch.
Okay.
Make no mistake about it. Manny has himself said that he wants a rematch to regain his title. He wants to go out on top. Someone like Manny is not going to go out on a losing end. So he wants the title back. Unfortunately, although Manny said he wants to fight in the Philippines, the contract stipulates that the fight can only be held in Australia. So it'll be in Brisbane, it'll be in Sydney, or it'll be in Melbourne. Any one of those places. But wherever the fight is held, mark my words, Manny Pacquiao is going to beat the hell out of Jeff Horn in the rematch. If you get a referee like Kenny Bayless, who will be firm and fair and will not allow the shenanigans that Horn did in the first fight, Manny's going to win this fight walking away. And I think Manny deserves it. But, it is what it is. In the rematch, it's going to be a different story.
When he gets that rematch, and should he win, do you think that should be his last fight? Or do you think would you like to see him continue?
It will depend on how he does in that fight. If he wins convincingly, if he knocks out the Horn or makes Horn eat his words like big time, then I would say maybe go for another 1 or 2 more fights. I was talking with Nonito Donaira, one of our great Filipino fighters, and he was recently in Manila. In fact, his wife is still here. His wife is a relative. So he told me it took Manny 15, 20 years to be at a level where he is. It's every fighter's dream to be able to fight for a payday of at least $1 million. Manny's at that stage.
Yeah.
If you look at the top 10 in the welterweight division, Manny will still be competitive against any of those top 10 guys.
Exactly.
So he's saying, if Manny believes in his heart that he will not put his life or limb at risk by continuing his career, why quit? Yeah. You're in a position where you can still earn so much. Even if you're a senator, it's every fighter's dream to be able to be at that pedestal. But he's got to be true to himself. If he thinks that he will already be put at risk entering the ring at his age of 38, then maybe he should quit. But if in his heart of hearts he thinks he can still go on and not put his life at risk, hey, why quit?
Yeah.
Go on.
That's the thing. It's the payday. He's in a position to demand a huge payday whoever he fights, but it's the payday versus damage. I think he's in a great position. We want to see him earn the best that he can, but at the same time, we don't want to see him take the damage. The last thing we want to see is him have problems 10 years from now, or get into that fight I was talking about where he shouldn't have taken it and he's a little off and he looks bad. So that's the last thing we want to see, but it's tough when the payday's out there. And certainly I'm all for the rematch as well. I think it'd be great to see him avenge his loss, and then exactly depending on how he does, then you can plan the future after that.
And with Manny, when you talk about the payday, it's really not just for himself. he gives away his money.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people depend on him, and that's also one motivation for Manny. When he fights, he doesn't fight just for himself. He fights for every Filipino out there.
The whole country, and not just the whole country here, but Filipinos around the globe are watching the fight.
The interesting point that you raised about his health and what we were talking about, whether in his heart of hearts he feels that he's not putting his life at risk. I think with what happened in the Horn fight, Manny should have gone through a CT scan or an MRI. I don't know if he has. I haven't asked him. And I've talked with a neurologist, someone whom I've introduced Freddie Roach to, the head of the neurology department at the Makati Medical Center. And in fact, I brought Freddie Roach over to meet her and her team of doctors, because I thought it would be a great thing for Freddie to inspire them, because Freddie has made inroads in his battle against Parkinson's. Mm-hmm. And I thought the doctors at Makati Medical from the neurosciences department loved the opportunity to speak with Freddie.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and credit Freddie for taking time out, going over to Makati Med and sitting down with these doctors and talking to them about the cures, the remedies, the medicines that he takes. And it's great. And it was Dr. Canlas who told me that after that fight against Horn, seeing that Manny got bashed in the head with those headbutts, he should have at least taken an MRI or a CT scan to determine if there was any kind of damage. And also, she said, at his age, after having fought over 60 fights, there should be regular checkups, and he should be very, very careful in monitoring his brain condition at this stage.
Okay, excellent. We wish him the best, and whatever the future may hold.